So for our next video for section 4 of chapter 3, we're going to be looking at the chart of a velocity function for a particle that is moving left and right along the x-axis. And so we're asked to answer, about 10 parts to this question, and for a lot of them trying to justify how we know this. So part A says, which way does the particle move first? And so I want you to remember this is velocity, and because the velocity values to start out are negative, so in this entire first two sections here, it's negative, it's going to be moving to the left. So as justification, we could just say since the velocity is less than 0, at the beginning the particle is going to move left. Part B says, when does the particle stop? Well, things stop when their velocities are 0 or when their speeds are 0. And so we're going to be looking at the different places where it crosses the x-axis. And so there are 4 spots where that happens: 0, 3, 7, and 10. Part C says, when does the particle change direction? So that's going to happen when our velocities change signs, when we go from moving left to moving right, or right to left. And so as I'm looking through here, that really is only going to happen at just this one point. Right there is where it's changing signs. So it's going to happen at 7, and as I was writing that I realized you guys can't see the tick marks very well, so I've kind of added that in so you can count out the steps just a little bit better. Part D says, when is it moving to the left? We already talked about that a little bit. That's going to be when our values are negative, but note that that doesn't mean when it also equals 0. So it's basically negative the entire stretch, but right here it is 0, and so technically there it's not moving at all, so we have to be careful with how we write our answer out. And so we move to the left from 0 to 3, and then from 3 to 7, not including 3. And then part E says, when is it moving to the right? So that's when we have positive values, and so that would be from 7 all the way to 10. And so if you look closely at parts B, D, and E, when does it stop? When is it moving left? When is it moving right? Every single t value, x value, is covered there, because for this application those are the only 3 possibilities. Okay, part F and part G are a little bit trickier. It's asking, when is the particle speeding up and when is it slowing down? It would actually probably be easier to do parts H and J first, but I want to just kind of walk you through what you could do if you just had this graph. So when is it speeding up? Well, remember that velocity, the number part of velocity, tells you the speed. The positive or negative just tells you direction. So anytime the number part is getting bigger, you are technically speeding up. So in this chunk you'd be speeding up, here you're speeding up, and here you're speeding up. So there are basically 3 spots, it looks like, where that would happen. And when is it slowing down? Well, that's going to be when it's when the number part is getting smaller. So here's a part where it's slowing down, here it's slowing down, and there it's slowing down. Part H, when is the speed, or when is the particle moving the fastest? That's going to be when the overall number, don't worry about positive or negative, but just the overall number is the biggest, and that's going to be for this chunk right there, and that's from 4 to 5 seconds. And that also happens to be moving at a constant speed. The number part there is not changing. So part H and part I will have the same answer. And now we're going to take the graph of velocity and first of all graph acceleration, and then graph the particle's speed. So acceleration is just the derivative of velocity. So whatever the slopes are for these line segments, those are going to be the values that we're graphing right here. So just kind of take a minute. We've done that before, just haven't had applications of it, and just see if you can get a sense of what the acceleration graph might look like. And I'm going to try and zoom in here just a little bit. Maybe we can zoom back out in a second. And after trying to draw a couple things, I realized that wasn't going to look too good. So we're just going to stop there. and we will fill in those graphs in class tomorrow. So make sure you jot down any questions, and we'll see you tomorrow.